Hey everyone, I'm Amber and welcome to my channel, Amber Wallace Reads. Today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up and my March TBR. So the first book I read this month is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. This book is the second book in the Mortal Instruments series, which is a series that follows the main character, Clary Frey, as she discovers that she is a shadow hunter, which is part angel, part human, and sort of goes on an adventure after her mother goes missing and she has to find her. This book was really awesome. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I had a hard time a little bit because this series was made into a TV show. It's called Shadowhunters. It's on Freeform. And watching that and then trying to read the book afterwards is a little bit hard for me because instead of creating sort of my own image of what's going on in this book, I have the image that the TV producers sort of made for me. So I'm excited to sort of get further in this series past where the TV show is. And I stopped watching the TV show so I could enjoy the series a little bit more. But overall, I really enjoyed it and I want to continue. And I know that once I get past where I am in the TV show, I'm going to love it so much more. So highly recommend. This is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. The next book I read in February was City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. Now this is the third book in the Mortal Instruments series. It is the exact same series as the last book, and the last book was just really good, and the series is good as a whole, so I decided to continue reading it. Same premise. I don't want to give you more information on this just because I don't want to spoil anyone in case you haven't read it, but go read it, and then I might do a book talk when I finish the series because it's a really fun one. The next book I read was Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. Now, this was not something that I picked up myself. One of my sorority sisters decided to start a book club, which is really awesome, and the book she picked is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver because the movie adaptation is coming out on, I think it's on March 3rd, and maybe that's already passed by the time this video goes out, but she picked it so we could all go see the movie together after we read the book and had a discussion on it, which I think is really cool. So I signed up for the book club, read Before I Fall. Actually, I listened to this one on audiobook, and this book was not a book I would recommend to many people. It follows a girl named Sam, and she is in high school. I think she's a senior in high school, and she is one of the popular girls, and I don't think in this situation popular means well-liked. I think in this situation popular just means a group of girls who bully other girls and other people in general into being nice to them or doing things for them, because these girls were not girls that I ever would have been friends with, and that honestly I would have been surprised had many friends at all if they went to my high school, but it's a little bit beside the point. The point is the book follows this girl Sam. She's a senior in high school, and on this one day, it's February 12th, and it's their Cupid's Day, which is a Valentine's celebration, I guess, and at the end of the night, she gets in a car accident with all her popular friends, and she dies in this accident, but instead of actually dying, she wakes up the morning of February 12th. So she lives out that day again and again and again. And she basically just keeps repeating this day, and each time making changes, and sort of, I think the idea is that she's supposed to be learning a lesson throughout this, and then there's sort of, the ending. So I wasn't a huge fan of this book. I don't like time travel repetition-y stuff. That Groundhog Day style does not work for me. I'm really not a fan. I didn't like reading about these characters because they're mean for no reason, and that just absolutely rubs me the wrong way. It's not enjoyable to hear their story. I really don't feel sympathetic towards them as a character because they're not good people. So that's that, and I would recommend this book in one scenario. So if you are actively in high school, and if you're just not as nice as you could be. So if you're in high school and you know that there are people who are maybe a little bit afraid of you or intimidated by you, and you sort of utilize that to your advantage, if you've ever, asked someone to copy off their homework and known that because of who you are, they're going to let you do that, I would definitely recommend reading this and gaining a perspective on how your actions might be affecting other people. Unless that is, and that's a very specific scenario, and unless that's you, probably don't waste your time reading this book. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. I really didn't care for it. Didn't like the ending, didn't like the beginning. The middle had some redeeming qualities, but not enough to make up for the rest of the book. So, sorry that was such a negative note. I really didn't enjoy this book. So after reading that one, I really needed a book that I knew I was going to enjoy. So I went back to my beloved friend, Cassandra Clare. So I picked up Clockwork Angel, which is the first book in the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare, and this book was awesome. The reason I read this one instead of the fourth book in the Mortal Instruments series is because I'm trying to read these two series in publishing order. So this one actually was published before the fourth one, but after the third one in the other series. So that's just like a side note on why I picked this one up. And I loved this book. It was really fun. It was very true to the style that I've come to expect from Cassandra Clare. It also takes place in this Shadowhunter world, but it takes place in, I think, the 1800s in London, so it's sort of like a prequel series. It's really cool, like the environment's different. I was worried that the characters in this book were going to be really similar to the characters in the other series, but they're not. They're very distinctly their own people, which is awesome, and I would definitely recommend Mortal Instruments first because that is the order that it came out in. But if you like Mortal Instruments and haven't read this yet, definitely check it out. Alright, so I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars because it was really good, but I'm leaving room for the later books in this series to sort of blow me away even more. So the last book I read this month was Howls Moving Castle by Diane Wynne Jones, and this follows a young girl named Sophie. She works in a hat shop, and one day the Wicked Witch of the Waste sort of comes in and cast a spell or like a curse on her that makes Sophie look like an old woman. So she sort of leaves the hat shop because she doesn't want her family to see that she's an old woman, and I think that's why. And she stumbles upon Howl, who is a magician or like a wizard, Howl's moving castle. And so she comes to work for Howl and sort of befriend Howl, and Howl actually apparently has some sort of curse on him as well. So Sophie is trying to figure out how to break her own curse, how to break Howl's curse, and just her like figuring out her environment, making friends. It's such a cute novel. If you've seen the Miyazaki film Howl's Moving Castle, this book was the inspiration for that. And it's just all around just such like a whimsical fun. It's sort of a children's book, so if you're younger, you'll definitely enjoy it and it'll be more your like reading level, and if you're older, it's still a fun read. I really enjoyed it. I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. So those are all the books that I read in February. My intent with this video was to do a March TBR. However, I'm looking back at my February TBR and I honestly did not end up reading many of the books that I said I was going to read. I read different books. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to actually read. If I set a March TBR, I don't know if I'm going to deviate from that. And I definitely, I don't want to be lying to you guys and say that, oh, I'm going to read these books and then not read them. But I will say I'm a very impulsive person, and when it comes to reading, this is something I do for fun. It's not something that for my major, I need to do. It's just I genuinely enjoy reading, and this for me is a hobby, and it's something that I really want to enjoy when I'm doing. So I try to pick books that the mood strikes me. So I finish one book and I'm like, I wonder what I feel like reading next. And then I pick that up. So having a TBR is sort of cool in the way that I have a list of books that I am thinking about reading. But when it actually comes time to pick them up, then I don't necessarily stick with that. And I don't want to be giving you guys the wrong idea that I'm going to read ones, and then I don't want you to be disappointed when I don't read them. So I don't think I'm going to do a TBR this month. If you want some ideas of books I'm considering reading, I definitely am going to hit another couple Cassandra Clare books in the Mortal Instruments series and Infernal Devices. I'm really into that right now, so I can confidently say that I will be reading more of her books this month. This is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh, and it's a retelling of 1001 Nights. It has been on my to-be-read list for ages. I'm not promising that I'm going to read it during March, but I am definitely saying that it is one of the ones I am more excited about on my shelf right now. So this is definitely one that's probably going to catch my eye when I finish the Shadowhunter series. So I also feel really bad because last month, during February, I said I was going to read Emma, and then I also said I might be reading All the Light We Cannot See. I know that this month I'm trying to be more realistic with myself. I don't think I'm going to get to both of them, but I definitely think that the guilt from not finishing either of them last month is going to push me to read at least one of these. Also, something sort of random is I have The Road Not Taken and Other Poems by Robert Frost, and I have Good Poems for Bad Times collected by Garrison Keller, and these are not books on my TBR. because I don't read poetry books all at once, but I do plan on reading a couple poems from each of these this month. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I will say on my end, recording this video was a mess. I had like a billion takes of everything. But hopefully you guys thought it was good, and hopefully I'll edit it together well enough. So thanks for sticking with me. I still consider myself very new to Booktube, and I'm still trying out different things, different types of videos, different ways of editing and filming, and just trying to see what works well. So I really appreciate any feedback you guys have. I've been getting so many positive comments, and it just makes me so happy. Like, thank you guys so much. For being so welcoming in this community, and not even when I just joined, but even now continuing to watch my videos. It means so much to me, and I really appreciate it, and I really hope you guys enjoy it enough to stick around for my next videos. Thanks again!